So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our curve. And pretty straightforward, we're going to draw the one line down the middle and then 3 lines to the left, 3 lines to the right. The mean is 44. I add 7, 51, 58, 65. I subtract 7, 37, 30, and 23. And my percentages are 34 on either side of the average. Then we drop to 13.5. Then we drop to 2.35. And then we finish with 0.15 on either side. All right. So on the test, the first thing we need to get down is a correct normal curve using our standard deviation and working from our mean. Okay. To answer the questions, between 37 and 51, I'm literally just adding the percentages. 68%. Greater than 58. To the right of 58 is 2.35 and 0.15, so it's 2.5%. And finally, what is the percent chance your score is not between 30 and 44? Between 30 and 44 is 47.5, so if I subtract that from 100, I'm at 52.5. So for this one, draw our curve. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 77. We're going to go 83, 89, 95. 71, 65, 59. And then it's 34%, 1 standard deviation away on each side. 13.5%. From 1 to 2 standard deviations away. 2.35% between 2 and 3 standard deviations away. And after 3 standard deviations away on either side is 0.15%. Now, from your review, I changed the numbers a little bit. What's the percentage chance between 71 and 83? It's 68%. What's the percent chance I'm not between 65 and 89? Well, 65 to 89 is 95%. So I have a 5% chance of not being in that range. Okay? We have a 95% chance of we have a 95% chance of being in that range. My fault. Okay? If the question were, what are the chances of not being in that range? It'd be 5%. So when they ask what's the percentage, we just add them up. If they were to ask what's not the percent chance, or what's the percent chance of not being in that range, we take whatever our percent is and we subtract it from 100. So if I wanted the percent chance of not being between 65 and 89, it's 5%. The chances of it being between 65 and 89, it's 95%. All right, this always starts with, putting the numbers in order. 24, 44, 45, 55, 63, 72, 74, 81, and 84. And I tend to like to find the median first. My median is 63. I don't write it down first. What I usually write down first are my extremes, my lowest and my highest, 24 and 84. My median is what I'm going to put down last after I do the quartiles. We take the median of the numbers in front of the whole list, we take the median of the numbers in front of the median of the whole list. And then we take the median of the numbers on the back end of that list. The median when you have four numbers is we take an average of these two middle numbers, 44.5. The median here, the middle of 74 and 81, 155 divided by 2, I believe, is 77.5. And then 63 is closer to this 77 than the 45, so I tend to put that median last. I put it closer to the number it's closest to. If I'm looking for outliers, 77.5 minus 44.5 is 33. And I multiply that by 1.5. 33 times 1.5. Can someone put that in a calculator for me? But I believe it's 49.5. Is that correct? Yeah. We subtract it from the first quartile. And that puts me at -5. And I add it to the third quartile. That puts me at 49.5, 77.5 is, I believe it's 126. Can someone put that in a calculator, 77.5 and 49.5? What is it? 127? And those are my outliers. Less than -5, more than 127, so there are no outliers here. My second one, 9, 14, 15, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 30, 51. Now I have 10 numbers, so my median, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is between those two numbers, 23 and 25. My median is 24. I take the median of the first 5 numbers and the last 5 numbers. You take the median of the numbers less than the median of the whole list. You take the median of the numbers that are greater than the median of the whole list. So in this case, when I draw my box and whisker, 9, 51. The median of the list of numbers to the left is 15. The median of the numbers to the right is 27. So my actual median is 24. Now when I do my outliers, 27 minus 15 is 12. And 12 times 1.5 is 18. 15 minus 18 is a -3. Less than -3 is an outlier. 27 and 18 is 45. Greater than 45 is an outlier. So I would argue 51 is an outlier. Yes? When you have a stock or an initial investment, initial amount of money, we put that down. When the investment goes down, we subtract the rate it depreciates out from 100, and that becomes our decimal. 100 minus 8 is 92, so the rate becomes 0.92. You don't put 0.08 in here. When you depreciate, you subtract from 100, and that's your percentage. And you raise that percentage to the amount of years. When you put this in your calculator, it's 0.92 raised to the 4th power first. You do the exponent first. And whatever that number is, you multiply it by 30,000, and I'll have you round to the nearest dollar. So when you put those numbers in, what do we get? 0.92 raised to the 4th power times 30,000. What's my answer? You guys have the calculators. What is it? I'm sorry? No. You have to multiply it by 30,000. What do you get? Go ahead, Evan, do you? $491 point what? So we'll say 21,492. 38643. We're depreciating at a rate of 3%. So 100 minus 3 is 97. So 0.97, and we're raising that to the 5th power. Can someone tell me what that number is going to be? Say it again. 33,000 what? 183? 0.4? Oh, 1,000. Or, I'm sorry, 3,184. So when a stock grows, the initial amount times the rate plus 1, so it's 1.07. Your growth rate will always be bigger than 1. Your depreciation rate will always be less than 1. We raise that to the amount of years. Once again, order of operations. 1.07 raised to the 7th power, and then we take that number and multiply it by 60. Go ahead, Ishan, what do you get? $300 what? We have $32,210.20. It grows 10%, so that's 1.10, and we raise it to the 5th power. And you put that in your calculator, what do you end up with? Say that again, Isha?